Hello guys, welcome back to Pause. Adam here, and welcome back to Firewood Grotto. This is part 2 of our Christmas holiday build that we are doing here in Planet Coaster. Now in today's episode we are just finishing off the building that we started last time, so if you haven't checked out episode 1, please do go back and have a look at that as I explain a bit more about the series and about the sort of ideas around what I'm going to do on this project. So yeah, do check that out. If you do go on to enjoy this video, please give us a like down below. It really does help us out. And if you haven't done so already, why not subscribe if this is the kind of content you are into? Planet Coaster, Christmas, snow, I don't know, whatever it is. Yeah, consider subscribing, please. And then if you've got any questions, queries, comments or suggestions for anything throughout this video or this build, make sure you drop those down as well, as I do try and read every single one. And I do take them on board. So in today's episode, like I said, we're just finishing up the building just here, and we just finished up this little area, put in a few bits and pieces. Like we've got the first bits of wood there. This is Firewood Grotto, so we might as well put some firewood in there. So yeah, put some logs down. A few suggestions on the last video said maybe put some windows and things on the building. Yeah, completely agree. It was a bit bare, so that's what we've done. Added a few little windows, and it gives us a few more little bits and pieces to put some decorations in, which is always lovely. So we finished off this area, and we put in a few odd little bits here and there. Some snow shovels, some more sort of ice rocks to give the impression that the snow drifts. And we also put in a lovely little happy snowman as well. I'm having a lot of fun actually with this. It's really getting me in the mood for Christmas. We don't get that much snow in the UK, not to sort of this level anyway. So when it does come, it's a bit of a novelty. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, and then towards the end of the video, we start putting in the next section. So you might have just seen at the start, I put in that pathway towards the big tree in sort of like a circle of path. And we put in a really nice walkway between this area and the big tree. And I think it turns out really nice. I've sort of used a lot of the generic pieces. It's basically just like a tree-lined path with some nice lighting on. But I think it's turned out really, really nice. And like I say, you'll see that towards the end of the video. And then there's a few minutes of slow-mo shots at the end, just sort of showing off the area, as I didn't really do anything like that in the last episode. So at least it gives you a nice impression of how it looks from the sort of guest perspective. And I think it's turning out really nice, actually. Like I said, I'm enjoying this one a lot. And like I say, don't expect many rides in this build. There'll be a few though, don't get me wrong, there will be some. As I sort of touched on last time, my sort of mindset and aim for this one is more of like a family-run farm event. So it's going to be a lot more kind of, I don't know, inflatable rides like bouncy castles, bouncy houses, that kind of thing, rather than it being sort of big rides. I'm going to set them up in a kind of temporary way. So we might make some like generators and things like that, and actually really think about how these things are being powered. And like I said, that's something we'll get to down the line. There's going to be sort of 3 or 4 sections really to this build. The ride area, which is going to be like a little fairground. There's going to be like a Christmas market area. There's going to be like a little shopping zone where you can buy like Christmas trees and Christmas decorations and stuff. And then we'll probably end up having a little food area as well, where people can grab some food, grab a bit of drink, sit down. I mean, that kind of links into the market zone, but we'll link it all together nicely. So that's the plan, sort of moving forwards with this one. So yeah, like I said, just filling in this sort of back path here to give the impression that it's kind of been dug out, so it's all on one level. Like I say, we don't get this kind of height of snow in the UK, so I don't know where this place would be if it was in the real world. No idea. But it's my little fantasy Christmas world, so we can get away with it, can't we? So a few more of these little trees around. These work really well in this area. There can be a lot of these trees, so get used to seeing those. Like I say, this is just, yeah, the pretty little entranceway, really. It's pretty standard, but pretty in itself. I've decided to switch over to the natural path. I think it works better in this kind of area, just to give the impression that it's more of a like a temporary location. Using a bit of the train here just to give sort of foot traffic kind of marks in the snow. And like I say, that's the idea. I want to try and get a bit of realism into this. That's why we're sort of using the snow drifts either side of the pathways and the buildings and things. And again, as we get down, this is just going to give the impression that people have walked through, and it's just a worn path from nature, really. So I think it works out quite nice. Here I just put in a very, very basic entrance sign using a billboard and some bits of wood. Very, very basic. But it turns out, again, quite nice. I mean, it doesn't need to be much. The logo I made is very standard, and it fits quite well in the little area. And like I said, this is where we're going to start work on this little pathway. So I've purposely done this sort of straight path here with the big tree at the end in mind, as I want there to be sort of like a grand entrance into this. And this little tree sort of hub is going to sort of make the centre point of the area. So each little zone that I just mentioned a few minutes ago will kind of branch off from that tree. Think of it as sort of the Disney castle of the Magic Kingdom style in this, obviously, little farm. But that kind of idea is what I'm going for. So yeah, one side there'll be a fair, one side there'll be a market, there'll be a shop, there'll be buildings, all that kind of stuff, all branching off from this sort of central point. Obviously we need to put in some utility buildings at some point, like toilets and things like that. What I'm probably going to do is try and make some like porta cabin looking toilets, so they look temporary, maybe on the back of a trailer or something. Like I said, I want to give the impression that this thing is like a temporary setup. So instead of building like a very specific building for that, I want everything to feel like it's just kind of been put there. A certain building, certain aspects might be permanent, but in the grand scheme of things, most of this stuff is going to be relatively temporary, and that's the idea I want to put in sort of as we move beyond this point. Now, think of it from this point up to the big tree is probably usually year round. This is probably the sort of main entrance to the farm area. Maybe they have like in the summer, maybe they do some kind of event. Halloween, they probably do an event. So this area is quite well maintained, and then as you get out into the rest of this build, that's where it's going to become a little bit more temporary, and that's the plan. Here I was just having a little idea with these lights. I think I really like the idea of them going over the path. It does look really nice once we've done. Using just some rope to give it some realism, because these lights don't really attach to anything. So they're attached to the rope, attached to these posts, and they just go along the pathway. And like I say, I think it turns out really nice. I have used the static ones here, and I do turn them white in a few moments. I've got all the lights on the trees flickering around, so I think having too much flickering would be just a little bit too much for the eye. So that's why I've gone for this. Like I said, it works out really nicely. A few bows on the posts, and then we put in some other bits of theming up and down this path. And again, I think it works really well as a nice entrance. If you were in this place, really like in a real park, walking down here, I think you'd really get that magical feeling going. And once we get in the sort of music and things as well, obviously gonna add some really nice Christmas music to this. I think it's going to turn out really nice. So here we put in a few of these little props. Again, if this was a real park, to keep budgets down, these may be like inflatables or something relatively cheap, cardboard cutouts potentially. But you know, the sort of thing you get in these kind of places. A couple of presents. These are easy bits of theming to do. Just some cardboard boxes, they're wrapped up in something. Obviously, I know these will probably get really wet and ruined, but you know, it's just part of it, isn't it? It adds them little bits of detail to the edge. We're probably going to surround this in trees at some point as well, just to sort of encompass it a little bit better. And then, like I said, the last couple of things we put in is just to finish off the area, and I think it's turned out quite nice. I'm actually really happy with it. So all I'm going to do now is show you a few little sort of slow-mo shots of everything we did last time and everything we've put in today. Yes, I know this is a bit of a short episode, I apologise for that, but I'm going to try and do more frequent episodes of this, so expect them to come out quite regularly, and they might be a little bit shorter, but I'm aiming for maybe a few of these a week, so fingers crossed I can commit to that. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this, guys. If you have, don't forget to give us a like down below, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And if you've got any queries, questions, comments or suggestions for anything on the channel or this build specifically, please do drop them down below. Like I said at the start, I do read them. I try and answer every single one, but I do read every single comment and I do take them on board. So for now, guys, thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers, bye.